Welcome to the Armchair Fantasy Football Podcast. Here are your hosts, DJ Marcotte and John Soroyce. Enjoy the show.
Bonus round!
That was intense. You like this song?
I like it.
Or we better stop it before we get sued. So, bonus episode, John, for our loyal listeners. We're going to do a mock draft. Are you excited? Are you pumped? Are you jazzed?
I am, but not where I'm picking.
Oh, okay. Well, that's unfortunate. So, yeah, guys and gals and everybody in between, we are doing a mock draft through the Sleeper app, which is probably our favorite. It's what we do our league of record on, is Sleeper. And it's very interactive. It's got a chat. It's got mock drafts. It's got news. It's got analysis. It's got everything you need. It's customizable, very highly customizable, unlike some of their competitors that we don't mention. The Mothership might be a nickname of one of those competitors, but Sleeper's where it's at, in my opinion. You like Sleeper, John?
I love Sleeper.
Yeah, me too. So let's do a mock draft on Sleeper. We randomly selected our spots in the draft. I will be picking 8 out of 10. This is a PPR draft. 16 roster spots. Starting positions are QB, 1 QB, 2 running backs, 2 wide receivers, 1 tight end, and 2 flex. So this should be a blast. John and I are competing against each other, unlike the last mock draft we did. We were teaming up, which is that mirrors real life, because we team up in our tag team league where there's 2 owners per team, and then we go head-to-head in our keeper and dynasty leagues. So I'm going to take you down, John.
Yeah, you might.
And there's nothing you can do about it other than try to compete. But talk about pick 1. You said you weren't really pumped about that. Why is that?
I don't like pick 1 because it's the wait after the first pick. You got to wait a long time.
It's like, you ever had like a date when you were younger and pick you up at 8, but you haven't met the person at 8, gets to 8:30, gets to 8:45, getting a little bit nervous, and then finally they show up around 9 o'clock, and that's kind of what it's like to have first overall pick. I don't particularly like it. I'm cool with the 8th pick overall because, there's a lot of depth this year, and if you get 8th, then you get to pick that much quicker in the second round and build a pretty good foundation for your team. So you're up, John. Who are you taking at number 1 overall? Make it good.
So with first pick, I'm taking Saquon Barkley.
And why?
They're going to use him like a workhorse.
Yeah.
I think he's going to be over 400 touches for the season. Look what he did last year in his rookie season. He's only going to get better. He's going to be the focal point of their offense, so his usage will be very, very, very high.
And it's a stud running back.
Correct.
That's what you want to build the foundation on. All right, so after Barkley goes Kamara, McCaffrey, Ezekiel Elliott, so disrespectful, David Johnson, Melvin Gordon, and right before me went DeAndre Hopkins, and that makes me a little sad because, to be honest with you, I was hoping DeAndre would fall to me because it kind of just makes a weird scenario for me now. I mean, Devontae Adams is available, Le'Veon Bell is available, but, man, I just don't trust Adam Gase. So I'm thinking there's only one true stud wide receiver left on the board, and that is Devontae Adams. So basically, I don't trust Le'Veon Bell. James Conner, Joe Mixon, I like them, but not as the foundation of my team, and that's what you're picking in the first round, is the foundation of your team. So I think I can get Devontae Adams here, and then I think in the next round I can probably pick up a pretty solid running back to pair with him. So after Devontae Adams goes Julio, Le'Veon Bell, Michael Thomas, James Conner, Joe Mixon, Odell Beckham, Travis Kelce, and Juju Smith-Schuster. And now I'm up again, John.
Yes, you are, and I'm still waiting.
So, you know what? Todd Gurley's sitting right there. And I know there's a lot of question marks with Gurley, and I typically don't like to take that risk. But
it's a late pick, though.
You're looking at
upside.
You're looking at the 2-5 spot. I didn't think he'd last that far, to be honest with you. But Dalvin Cook's there too. I kind of do like Dalvin Cook, but no, you know what? I'm going to go with Todd Gurley. He's the proven workhorse there, and even if he does lose a little bit of work, to kind of ease up on him, I still think you're talking about the guy that is right up there near the number one running back spot year after year. So I think I'm starting pretty good shape with Devontae Adams and Todd Gurley, so I'm going to roll with Todd Gurley. So, John,
really,
as we progress here,
before my pick,
John just got sniped. But in any event, after Todd Gurley, Antonio Brown, Nick Chubb, Damian Williams, Adam Thielen, pretty early for him, I think, Mike Evans, and then you seem pretty upset there that Dalvin Cook went right before your spot.
This is why I hate number one.
Yeah. So here you go at the 212 spot. Who you looking at? You looking at You talk to me. You tell me what you're looking at.
Looking at receiver, I see Keenan Allen, T.Y. Hilton, Amari Cooper, A.J. Green.
Yeah.
I'm looking at running back. I'm seeing Freeman, Fournette, Mack, Jacobs, Jones, Kerryon Johnson, a little too far down. Mahomes, Luck. Tight end. I got 2 picks in a row, so I'm going to make this good. So I'm going to hold off on receiver, actually, I think.
Oh, interesting.
I think I am going to go another running back so I can have my 2 running backs. And I think that I am going to go with Devontae Freeman.
Devonta Freeman. Interesting. Why is that? You got to talk about your picks, John.
I went Devontae Freeman based on the fact with Leonard Fournette still there and Marlon Mack. I think Marlon Mack, he may be the next guy who's going to obviously get the bulk of the carries, but they have too many mouths to feed there. And as for Leonard Fournette, don't know how that offense is going to mesh with Nick Foles there. So with my next pick, I'm going to go elite tight end.
Oh, yeah, that's right. Back to back. Oh.
Back to back. So,
geez.
Tight end or receiver?
Yeah, ooh. You've got your boy Keenan Allen still there. So
I'm going to hold off, actually, on wideout. I was thinking George Kittle.
Yeah.
Really like George Kittle, but...
See, you're just doing that to take my guy.
I'm actually going to go with who I'm going to stand by him still. I'm going to go Keenan Allen.
Keenan Allen. Phew. I do like Keenan Allen a lot, but not as much as I like George Kittle. So just talk about Keenan Allen some more. John, what specifically puts him ahead of guys like Cooper or T.Y. Hilton?
In my opinion, I want Keenan Allen in that spot. He's their number one. He's their focal point. Yeah, Mike Williams may take some of the target share, but that offense was a top 5 offense last year, and they proved it. So
yeah.
They have the same team, with the exception of Henry back, and I think he's in a rocket again.
Yeah, I like Keenan Allen a lot. I've been a fan of his for a while. So after John took Keenan Allen, T.Y. Hilton went, Pat Mahomes, Josh Jacobs, that's pretty early, Zach Ertz, Leonard Fournette, Marlon Mack, and now I'm up. This is a no-brainer. You know where I'm going with this one? Yeah, this one's a no-brainer. George Kittle just barely made it to me. So I'm really pumped to have George Kittle fall to me. Todd Gurley, Devontae Adams, George Kittle. Elite running back. Elite receiver, elite tight end. That's a pretty good start as far as I'm concerned. Gurley does scare me, but he's an elite running back. So to have an elite player, and that's kind of what tier-based drafting is all about. To have an elite player at 3 different positions is pretty fantastic. So after that, we've got Derrick Henry, A.J. Green, Aaron Jones, Amari Cooper, Stephon Diggs, Kerryon Johnson. Some of my favorites are falling off the board here. Brandon Cooks, Phillip Lindsay, and now it is up to me. So I have some interesting options here. My instinct tells me to go with another running back, but the guys on the board are Sony Michel. A lot of question marks there. David Montgomery, Chris Carson's there. In the receivers that I'm looking at here are significantly better in terms of what they provide at their particular position. They're a tier level up at receiver compared to what I'm seeing at running back and the tier that those guys are at. And there's two of them that really stand out to me, and they just so happen to be on the same team. Robert Woods is one, Mr. Consistency, and the other one's Cooper Kupp. But Cooper Kupp's touchdown upside is significantly higher than Robert Woods. So I'm going to pair him with Devontae Adams, and I think that's a pretty good pairing. I like Cooper Kupp a lot. We talked about it in our last episode. The guy is a PPR guy. They can line him up pretty much anywhere. He's a red zone threat. He's got a lot of chemistry with Jared Goff. So I'm pretty pumped about Cooper Kupp. And as we're going, John is getting sniped.
I got robbed again
in pretty much every round. But I don't know if you're looking at receiver, John, but Robert Woods is still there. So let's talk about who came off the board after I just picked. So not shocking, David Montgomery went immediately after Cooper Kupp. Then Sony Michel, Kenny Golladay, Julian Edelman. The guy John wanted, Calvin Ridley and Tyler Lockett. So I'm going to ask you a question, John, before you make your next pick. You would take Calvin Ridley over Robert Woods?
Yes.
That surprises me.
Yes, but in this case, for what's there, I mean, I got to be smart about this. I think I'm going to go, honestly, I thought about my third receiver here, but I got double back-to-back picks, so I'm going to go Robert Woods with this pick.
I was going to say, you got good running backs right now. You got a good foundation there.
On top of that, I still have another pick.
Yeah.
So I'm actually going to go another running back. So because of injuries, I want to solidify myself a good back. So
yeah.
I'm going...
Don't take my guy.
I actually like Chris Carson over Mark Ingram.
Okay, I'm cool with that.
So Chris Carson's my next pick.
So talk about Robert Woods. And then go ahead. If
Robert
you don't
Woods
mind.
had a fantastic season last year. We all know that. I mean, Kupp not being there helped. I mean, half the season, but he's still part of that offense. Like I said before, I don't know.
He's steady. He's consistent.
I don't know who the main beneficiary is going to be there, but Robert Woods at that price as a wide receiver too, I'll take it. I actually wanted Calvin Ridley, but got sniped again.
Yeah, you have been getting sniped a lot in this draft, and I got to be honest with you. I'm getting a sick pleasure out of your reactions. It's as if we're drafting actual teams here.
I take it very seriously.
And I think deep in your soul, you know that you got some catching up to do to my team. I think I'm dominating you so far.
I hate that pick. I hate the number one pick.
But you like Chris Carson, right? So talk about what made you pick him over some of these other guys that were on the board.
Chris Carson, every time he showed last year that he may not have the job, the guy rocked it. I mean, look at that hurdle last year and that flip. He just shows ability for a guy that nobody really heard of, I believe. But the year before, I took him as a fifth running back, I believe, in one of our drafts. Everybody's like, who's Chris Carson? And I ended up with a gem. This is not last year. This is year before, his rookie year. And I said, wait till you see this kid can run. And he's proven it this year. I mean, yeah, they drafted Rashard Penny.
I was gonna say, does Rashad Penny, does he scare you at all? Like, I feel like he's primed. I mean, especially right now, where he's strutting his stuff while Carson's out with injury.
Carson has gotten the job every time they bring on this Scaro, or even when Penny gets involved, he ends up getting the bulk of the carries. I think unless Carson shows that he's gonna go, backwards or show negativity or, bad regression, I think he keeps the job, and they're going to slowly keep involving Penny. Penny could be their third down back, or they might be the change of pace back, a two-headed committee. With Pete Carroll, don't know what route he goes with that.
Yeah.
But for a bye-week fill-in, I'll take it.
All right, so after John takes Chris Carson, Andrew Luck goes off the board, Kenyon Drake, Mark Ingram, Aaron Rodgers, Tyreek Hill, Chris Godwin, and now it's my turn. So what I've I've got a little issue so far, and that issue is my RB2 position. I feel like I'm in really good shape on receiver, obviously. Really good shape on tight end, obviously. So I'm looking at running back for sure in this round. And one guy kind of stands above the rest to me, and that's James White. He's going to catch a ton of passes. This is a PPR draft. So I don't even think it's close. I mean, there's like Tariq Cohen's around. Miles Sanders is interesting. I mean, I could go crazy and go Darrell Henderson and just get the ultimate Todd Gurley insurance, but I'm not going to do that at this point. I think I can get him later on if I want to try to do the handcuff. So I'm going to go ahead and take James White here. And after James White, the guy that I was hoping to get in the next round, Deshaun Watson, flies off the board. Then Jarvis Landry, Evan Ingram, O.J. Howard. So the tight end pool is pretty shallow at this point. And then after Howard, Baker Mayfield, Darius Geis, Tyler Boyd, and Sammy Watkins. So now, well, there's some Hunter Henry's still there. I could just take him to completely screw you over if I wanted to.
Get sniped again.
But I'm not going to do that. Miles Sanders is still there. So really what I look at right now is where I've got a pretty good foundation with tight end, with receiver. You want to start to build up that running back depth. And I think that's the position I'll probably go at this point. I'll go running back. Looking at Tariq Cohen still there. Darrell Henderson again. I still think I can hold off if I wanted to handcuff him, but I think he's going to go earlier than people think, but not ready to pull the trigger on that quite yet. Honestly, at this point, I think I've got a good enough foundation on my team where I can get a little risky. So I'm actually going to take Miles Sanders, John, and I'll tell you why. Because the cream always rises to the top. When I look at a guy like Miles Sanders, he is a really good pass catcher. He's got really good vision. He's a good all-around running back, and was really. We got to get video going here because John just got sniped again, and he is literally almost in tears.
Oh my God! How many times can I get sniped in this draft?
But just to put a bow on Miles Sanders, I get it. The competition's there, but Jordan Howard is only going to go so far. He's not going to be a pass catcher. He's proven that he can't perform in that role. And like I said, I don't care, and I know we talked about this before, I don't care that Philly is saying they're going to use a running back by committee approach. The cream always rises to the top. If he turns out to be an elite level talent, then he's going to be on the field significantly more than those other guys. A little concerned with the hamstring injury right now, but I've already got James White. I've already got Todd Gurley. Another pass-catching back in a PPR league, and he's, I think, easily the best talent at running back still left on the board. So I'm going to go ahead and take Miles Sanders here. So after Miles Sanders, Mike Williams, Eric Ebron, Tariq Cohen, and then Hunter Henry. John, were you eyeballing him?
Yeah, he just went out the door very quickly.
Oh, man, that's
hurt.
A bummer.
That one hurt.
Alshon Jeffrey, and then Tevin Coleman. So now, John, you've got your back-to-back picks.
Well, that kind of changed my dynamics of the game. So I think what I'm going to do now is, instead of going tight end, I think I'm going to wait for the tight end I want.
You're not going to go get Jared Cook?
No.
No.
So I'm really liking sitting there. I'm going to take DJ Moore.
Who's that?
DJ Moore.
You're getting more DJ, huh? You don't have enough right now?
I know. I get with you 24/7. So that's my first pick out of my two picks.
So talk about DJ Moore.
DJ Moore is basically their number one wide receiver with Funchess out.
Yeah,
so
we talked about it in the last episode.
Uptick in targets, receiving yards. Samuel could bite into his production a little bit, but I think he's going to be a slot receiver there. So he's going to get quite a few receptions, but so nothing. His ceiling definitely goes up. So how he performs is going to be the bigger question. So,
yeah, I like him a lot.
Tight end for my second pick. Nope, not feeling with who's there.
Not Jared Cook.
Nope.
No.
So I already.
Nope.
I like. Let's see. I am going to go a fourth running back.
Okay.
I know that seems a little awful, but I think
Well,
Go ahead.
I have an idea. I mean, you do what you want, but I see Rashad Penny on the board. You want maybe a little Chris Carson insurance?
You know, I was thinking way too alike on that one.
Oh, were we?
Yes. So I did this last year and actually paid off. So if one doesn't cut it, I still have the other one. So it's a handcuff for me based on the fact of not knowing who's starting. And in this case, if they both blow up, then I have a double-headed monster, which really stinks for starting-wise. But remember, these are my backups anyway. So
You're under arrest, Chris Carson. You're getting handcuffed.
I'm going to take Rashad Penny.
That's awesome, dude. I think it's too bad that you couldn't do that a little bit later. Maybe get Penny a little bit later. But I can tell you, depending on who was on the board, I actually like Rashad Penny a lot this year as well. Love his upside. Chris Carson is not as talented as Rashad Penny, and I think the cream will definitely rise to the top there. So after Rashad Penny, Darrell Henderson. See, I told you he was going to go earlier than he probably should.
I thought he was going to go actually earlier than what he got picked.
Yeah, so I rolled the dice on that, and I got sniped here too because there was a guy I was eyeballing in this round. But just to continue, Robbie Anderson went after Henderson, then Matt Ryan, then Jordan Howard, then N'Keal Harry, which kind of, not going to lie, kind of makes me a little sad, but it is what it is. And then Vance McDonald, and now I am on the clock. I got a few options here. I know I like to talk about that high upside wide receiver in the flex, and Will Fuller's sitting there. He's a good option. And then we got Kareem Hunt. He's interesting. He intrigues me. I think Carson Wentz, I like him a lot, but it's still too early for me to go quarterback. Lamar Miller's Mr. Steady Eddie. But honestly, John, I like what they do in New Orleans with the running backs. Alvin Kamara catches a ton of passes, but there's still plenty of meat on the bone for the other running back, and that was proven with Mark Ingram. I like Latavius Murray this year, and not only because he's a handcuff. I don't have Kamara, so I guess that's a bad way to phrase it. He is gonna have a huge opportunity if Kamara gets hurt or suspended. These days, you never know.
Well, regardless, he's a touchdown vulture.
And that's the thing. So not only is his value gonna explode if anything happens to Kamara, but he still has a good base. I still think he has a 10-point baseline every week, with Kamara in the mix.
Remember, Kamara's not out there every second, so he's going to have to get a breather. So Latavius Murray, my guess, sees at least 5 to 10 touches a game, minimum.
Yeah. No, I like Murray, and to be honest with you, John, he's my 4th running back. So now I'm feeling pretty good at running back. I'm feeling pretty confident that I've got a pretty good baseline.
If you guys haven't noticed a trend, for me and him at least, I'm high on stacking my team with running backs, especially with injuries.
Yeah, you gotta have that good base, and I'm considering going running back again in this round, but I don't want to, because I've got a good receiver duo, but I need to add a little depth to that position. So I'm gonna look at receiver here. Geronimo Allison stands out to me as a good steady Eddie type of guy, but I don't know if his opportunity to be, an every week starter is there. So I'm going to look at guys in this round. I'm going to look at receiver, and I'm going to look at guys that have the opportunity to be an every week starter.
Oh, there's one sitting there.
And there's one that I think is definitely got that opportunity, and that's DK Metcalf. Again, my 3rd receiver. The guy is a big target. He's an athletic guy. He's a red zone target. Obviously, with Doug Baldwin out of the mix, that's going to open that up. And who knows? I mean, I think Tyler Lockett is going to get a lot of that residual love from Russell Wilson that would typically, those targets that would typically go to Doug Baldwin. But, Metcalf could be a game changer as well. So I'm going to go with Metcalf here and add a little bit of spark, hopefully, to my wide receiver core. But at the same time, he could be, I could be on the road to Bust City, USA there with Metcalf. But sometimes you got to take risks and you got to look at upside. So that's what I'm going with here with Metcalf. So after Metcalf is Carson Wentz, and then Jared Goff. So the quarterbacks are starting to fly, but I'm not sweating it yet. Are you, John?
No.
Nope. So Corey Davis after that, then Golden Tate, then Jared Cook, then Dante Pettis, then John Soroyce. You're up on the clock with your back-to-back picks.
So I am going to take my quarterback here, and there's actually quite a few options still sitting there.
I've got there are intriguing options there, yeah.
You got Newton, you got Winston, you got Rivers, you got Big Ben, you got Brady, you got Jimmy G, Josh Allen, and Kirk Cousins.
Don't forget Kyler Murray.
I'm not sold on Kyler
See,
Murray.
I think you have so I'm like rubbing up against something here. Sorry, guys, if that came across on the microphone. I think you've got so many good quarterbacks here. I would continue to wait, but you do have back-to-back picks. So
yeah, but
the wait would be much longer.
I have gotten sniped too many times, and I want this guy because I believe in this guy this year. So call me crazy.
Dak Prescott.
Nope. Who do you think I'm taking?
I think if I had to guess, and I know you pretty well, I think you're probably going to snag Kirk Cousins here.
That is correct.
Yeah, I think that's a good call. He's a good dude. He's got maybe the best wide receiver duo in the league. I know there's a few teams that are in really good shape in terms of their number 1 and number 2 receivers, but he's got 2 number 1 receivers, really, if you think about it.
And now I look at what I could possibly get. I mean, here's the unknown part. So I could go my 3rd wide receiver.
Yep.
Or I could possibly go tight end.
Yeah. So who's the top tight end on the board right now?
Njoku. The runt of the litter.
Yeah, the runt of the
Then
litter.
you have Austin, and I tore my hamstring hooper, but
I'm not very good to begin with.
So we talk about upside guys.
Yeah.
So I see a nice upside guy sitting
This
there.
could sink your draft, man. I'm telling you.
This could sink my draft, but I'm gonna roll the dice.
Yeah.
They say he's like a wide receiver lining up against linebackers.
Yeah.
So if this pays off, I'm golden. If not, then hey, it is what it is.
I
So
think
I'm
I
gonna
know who
take
you're
T.J.
going
Hawkinson.
with. T.J. Hawkinson, yeah. Yeah, I like T.J. Hawkinson. I don't know if I would go with him as my starting tight end, but at the same time, there's not a lot left there.
I'm not sold on Njoku. I'm not sold on Hooper. I think
What about Delaney? I know you're pretty big on Delaney Walker, and actually, you didn't have Hawkinson ranked in the top 12, but you did have Walker, so what kind of makes you make that decision today when you're on the spot?
Until I hear more about Walker, hearing the 85% today does not have me sold yet. So the rankings are based on if they're 100%, no injury issues, all that.
Yep.
So as if I'm personally picking like I did right now, I go Hawkinson based on the fact that I have not heard any injury news relating to him.
Yep.
I've only heard the positives because he's a rookie. And Walker at 85%, potentially not ready. He's not ready for training camps. Will be limited at training camps. I don't know how he's going to be week 1. As of right now, Hawkinson, there's no issue. So I'm going to take the easy path.
Okay, I dig. I can dig. So every draft has the albatross round or two, and I think that we've crept into that portion of the draft because, man, I'm looking at guys that just I don't know, dude. So I guess again, I would love to kind of cap off my running backs here, and I typically like to carry at least 5 running backs, and some rosters that are bigger, I would go 6. And I don't like any of these guys all that much. I mean, Royce Freeman, Ito Smith, guys like that are on the board. Jalen Samuels, Carlos Hyde could develop into, having a starting role this year, but I don't think his path is as easy as the guy that I'm gonna take, even though I don't love him. I'm going to take Ronald Jones here. He's my 5th running back, and he's got – I don't love the running game situation in Tampa. I do not love it. But at the same time, you got to have depth at that position. You got to go after guys that are going to have an opportunity to take over the lead role. He's got Peyton Barber in front of him. And honestly, as much as I'm not a huge believer in Ronald Jones, I'm even less of a believer in Chef Boyardee. He's the canned mac and cheese, and I don't think that Ronald Jones is the baked mac and cheese, but he's at least the craft box stuff. So, and he'll have the opportunity. So that's who I'm going with here. Ronald Jones, add to the running back depth. And then continuing through the albatross is Austin Hooper, who we discussed. He went right after Ronald Jones.
You used the word disgust in there.
Yes, yes, that very nice. I like that. And then Geronimo Allison, Sterling Shepard, Larry Fitzgerald, Cam Newton, which is intriguing. Larry I looked at, but
Larry's been consistent, especially for his age.
Well, that's a problem. Eventually, he's gonna run out, and he wasn't consistent last year. It was crappy. So,
well, that whole team was.
I'm not gonna tumble down that rabbit hole. After Cam Newton, Ito Ish Smith, Jalen Samuels, then Royce Freeman. So, right now, this is at the point where if I don't have guys that I truly believe in, I might take a quarterback. Looking at the receivers, Cortland Sutton intrigues me. James Washington intrigues me. Kiki QT. That's really it at receiver. Deshaun Hamilton intrigues me as well. And
you know who's sitting there did fantastic before the injury?
Who's that?
Emmanuel Sanders.
I'm not touching Emmanuel Sanders. The guy tore his Achilles, and he's 8,000 years old. No, that's a hard pass.
No,
on
I'm just
that
saying.
one.
I'm just saying. I don't know where you're at.
Well, I'd like to go receiver, but I just don't. I think I can. I mean, they're all the same at this point. So I'm going to look at what we've got left at quarterback. Jameis Winston's still there. I've got Ronald Jones. There could be a mini stack there. Not a big stack, not a tall stack.
A mini
like
stack.
pancakes. Just a double stack there. If Jones starts getting involved in the passing game. And I think the sky's the limit for Winston. They were the number one passing. They passed the most in the NFL last year. I don't think that's going to change all that much. So I'm going to go ahead and take famous Jameis right there at quarterback.
I like it.
What are your thoughts on Mr. Winston, John?
Mr. Winston, like I said, his numbers have been trending up over the last few seasons. I know he didn't start right off the bat last year with Fitzmagic and that whole situation, but his numbers,
Fitzmagic is gone.
His numbers did improve.
Thankfully for Jameis.
Completion percentage improved. I think with the amount of attempts that he threw last year, they'll probably throw the same, if not more.
Yep.
So I think if he can fix his interception, his turnover issue is the best way to put it. He could be really, really solid.
Yep. And
really solid.
Just a quick note, I want to point out that John took his quarterback with the last pick in the 8th round, which is about as close to the 9th round as you're going to get. It is as close to the 9th round as you're going to get.
Last pick.
And I made my quarterback selection in the 10th round. So we waited, and honestly, I think sometimes we wait later than that. That's probably the earliest I've seen you take a quarterback in a long time. Obviously, you're a believer in Cousins.
Yeah, but after the sniping, I had to kind of get that one.
I might have taken him. I probably would have taken him over Jameis. But anyway, after Jameis Winston, just the point I'm trying to make is, guys, wait on quarterbacks. Don't do that to yourself. There's plenty of quarterbacks to go around. And honestly, after Mahomes, Luck, and Deshaun, I think they're all pretty similar. So just wait. Sit and wait. Be patient. And pick your spot. So after I took Jameis, Phillip Rivers went. Then Cortland Sutton, Carlos Hyde. That's actually a good spot for Hyde. I mean, that could be an RB2, if things don't work out for Damian Williams. Your boy Achilles, Emmanuel Sanders. Kiki, do you love me? QT. And then James Washington after that. And now it's John on the clock with the 10-12 and the 11-1.
So I'm going to take a little risk here, and that's what's good about the later rounds. You can take some risk.
And it's a mock draft, so you can risk all you want.
It's not my team yet.
Are you going to take my guy? I think you're going to take my guy.
Am I pointing at him right there?
Yes, that's correct.
Yeah, you should
You're
grab
going to
them.
snipe me.
So I want to get my 5th running back.
Yeah,
so
go for it.
I am going to grab Devin Singletary from Buffalo.
Yeah, I liked him too, and I was looking at him, but Jones, I think, has a clearer path. He might not, though. I mean, I think he has a clearer path to the starting job, but I love Devin Singletary this year, honestly. I think that's an excellent pick. And another guy that could end up being an RB2, and you just got him at the end of the 10th round.
Yeah, so now I have 5 running backs.
Yeah, and so do I. So think about that, guys. We just picked up our quarterback, and we have 5 running backs. So I think that's all you need to know right there.
And receivers, I'm looking at receiver now. Hey, look, Doug Baldwin's available. Not.
Yeah.
So Robert Woods, Keenan Allen, and DJ Moore are my receivers. So this is where you can take a few shots if you want. So
I would agree with you there.
I'm going to take a shot here on Paris Campbell.
Paris Campbell. Yeah, I like Paris. A lot of mouths to feed there, but what do you like most about him to pick him there?
They drafted him high for a reason. Possibly, with T.Y., who knows if he's on the outs.
Different type of receiver, too. Well, I think you can line up Paris anywhere.
He's tall. Am I reading this right? Hold on. I didn't mean to cut into the whole Paris Campbell thing. But Rob Gronkowski...
Yes, he did. We'll get to that.
Okay. But yeah, Paris Campbell, they drafted him for
not by
a reason.
me.
It's to take pressure off of T.Y. Hilton. It's also to expand the passing game more targets for Andrew Luck. I think he's going to have an immediate impact on that team. And I know they did add... who's the name I'm trying to think of now? I'm forgetting off the top of my head.
In terms of
receiver,
Devin Funchess.
So I was never sold on Funchess, even when he was in Carolina. So
you didn't have bunches of Funchess?
No bunches of Funchess. So I think they drafted Campbell for a reason, and they're going to get him involved. And he's from what the reports I'm reading, very quick, very fast.
Yards after the catch.
Yep. Very polished route runner. So I think he's going to make an immediate impact. He's not going to be like a 12 or 1,300 yards, but for a guy who's my fourth wide receiver,
yeah, man,
I can take that gamble.
Yeah. Speaking of wide receivers, I need to get back on the wide receiver train here. I only have 3 of them, and there are some guys I like a lot here. Deshaun Jackson interests me, but there's a lot of options on that team, on that offense, in terms of passing. I like Deshaun Hamilton a lot. I think he could be the guy that Flacco keys in on.
He's tall.
Yeah, I like Curtis Samuel. Anthony Miller's there. Hollywood Brown could be a number 1 receiver on his team. Do I want 2 rookie receivers though? That's something that I always have to weigh in my mind. Dante Moncrief, Deebo Samuel. So there's a few options. Is that Chris Thompson? Is he a wide receiver this year?
That's what it looks like. They have him classified.
That's interesting.
But there's no team next to the name. You notice that?
Yeah, that's interesting. So not sure what's going on there.
Unless you think Doug Baldwin unretires.
Yeah, Doug Baldwin would be a steal here if he was still playing.
There's your boy you like right there.
Who's that?
Right at the bottom. You can barely see him, but he's...
Yeah, I know, Deebo. Yeah, he's interesting. Moncrief's interesting. Boy, this is a tough one. This is a tough round. I'm actually going to look just for the heck of it to see what's going on at running back. Ooh, Peyton Barber's there. I could handcuff Ronald Jones with Chef Barber D. Hard pass.
Oh, God, that is a very, very hard pass.
But yeah, just taking a quick peek at the running backs because I'm telling you guys, if you're looking at a position and you don't love what you're seeing, and I know I only have 3 wide receivers, so I probably should go that route, and I probably will. But if you're not loving who you're looking at, look at the other options. Look at the other positions.
Yeah, don't be forced into taking a pick just because you want that. Take the guy that you feel you want part of your team, has the high upside.
Yep.
And don't select, I already have 3 receivers. I need that 4th receiver.
Right.
Well, if you see something better at a different position, you still need depth at the other position. So make sure you're grabbing a guy that you feel strong on. Don't just grab him and have the deer in the headlight look, grabbing the guy you don't want, really.
Yep. So looking at it, I'm narrowing it down to 3 guys. It's Deshaun Hamilton, it's Anthony Miller, actually 4. Deshaun, Anthony Miller, Curtis Samuel, and Hollywood Brown. And I'm going to take Hollywood Brown, Marquise Brown, because he's got the opportunity to be the number 1 receiver on the team. I'm a little worried with Lamar Jackson's ability to get the ball deep to him. I'm a little worried about the fact that he's a tiny guy and maybe not all that durable. But at the same time, I got to go upside, especially when I'm looking at a group of guys that I'm not in love with. So I'm going to take Marquise Hollywood Brown there. And I think Baltimore's going to get creative with him too. I don't think they're just going to chuck it down the field for him every single time. I think they're gonna get creative. They're gonna move him around the field. Do you think is that something you anticipate seeing as well, John?
Yeah, they're gonna kind of shift him around. I think a lot more than anticipated, and I think they're gonna use him in different spots. But at the same time, they're also gonna play with, I think, using him everywhere because they also want to take the pressure off of Lamar.
Yep.
So they're gonna try to create mismatches, or at least seem like they're creating mismatches on paper.
Texas Chainsaw Massacre going on over there. I don't know if you guys can hear that, but it's actually a weed whacker. It's been a sunny week in Maine. It's been a wonderful week in Maine. Oh no, it's a leaf blower. So we got the walls opened up here at the War Room at the Armchair headquarters for the Armchair Fantasy Football Podcast, and I thought I was getting attacked by Leatherface for a second there, but thankfully it is just a leaf blower. So anyway, after Marquise Brown, Ben Roethlisberger, Isaiah Crowell, some poor soul, Deshaun Hamilton, kind of makes me sad. Deshaun Jackson, Deion Lewis, Naheem Hines, Curtis Samuel, Doug Baldwin. So maybe
he came out of retirement.
He's unretiring. But I'm going to do something that is uncharacteristic of me. I have a hard time. I have trust issues with guys that can't stay out of trouble. And I typically tell people like John, who has drafted this guy on a number of occasions, how many times do you have to touch the stove before you realize it's hot? However, with that being said, I'm a little thinner than I would like at wide receiver. I got a lot of talent at wide receiver. So I'm going to take a guy that may or may not play this year. But if he does play, he's catching balls from Tom Brady, and he's an elite level talent. So I'm going to take a gamble here. It's later on in the draft. I'm going to take Josh Gordon. What do you think about that, John?
I think it's risky, but if he comes back, we know what he's capable of doing. He had a monster season a few years back, racked up, almost 1,500 yards, I believe?
Yeah, I mean, if he plays, which there's no guarantee.
People do forget how young he is. I believe he's only going to be 26.
He's very young, but he's very stupid. So hopefully, in all seriousness, I think we're all hoping.
And I can tell you, I have rode the Josh Gordon bandwagon. Sorry, Josh Gordon bandwagon so many years in a row. So
you have, You're an advocate for him.
I'm very sold on him.
Yeah, you're like the guy that you have a girlfriend and she won't stop cheating on you, but you still stay with the girlfriend. Well, Gordon's going to be cheating on you with me this year in this mock draft, so hopefully I can turn him around because you're a bad influence. So we'll see how that works out.
So with my next pick,
well, hold on, we gotta run through the gauntlet here. Calm down, Tiger. So Jay Ajayi goes after Gordon, then Alexander Mattison. Sorry. Josh Allen. I was hoping to grab Josh Allen. I'm a little disappointed there. Justice Hill. I also liked him. Greg Olsen, and then Jimmy Garoppolo. So now John's on the clock. The Texas. If you don't pick soon, the Texas Chainsaw Massacre guy is going to be here.
So I'm going to take a chance on this one. His floor, I think, is, I would say, pretty solid. If he can fix his mechanics and a little bit of his accuracy.
Are you going QB here?
Oh, I'm going QB. So
you don't need to do that.
I'm taking a high upside guy here, and he's boom or bust, guys. But if he can fix some of his things, I'm taking Lamar Jackson.
You son of a gun. So there's two guys I actually like a lot this year at quarterback. Well, there's more than two, but Lamar Jackson's one of them, and Josh Allen's the other. I think they both have the capability to be, maybe not this year's Mahomes, but the closest thing to it. They have the right situation going for him to really explode this year. That's a great pick. I like it.
Thank you. And my next.
Hopefully, he doesn't have the same bye week as Kirk Cousins.
No. We hope not. So my next pick is I'm looking at another tight end, just in case Hawkinson doesn't work out, and I'm hoping this pick works out. It's called going back to the well again.
Is it my Josh Gordon that I just can't quit? Is it my guy that I can't?
And
I just can't quit.
You actually didn't quit on this guy up until like a few years back.
I still haven't quit on him. I'm still not convinced I'm not going to draft him this year.
I'm going back to the well. I'm actually passing up on a guy who's actually really good too, but his age is catching up with him. Yeah. The guy I'm going back to the well with, who do you think?
Jordan Reed.
Yep. Why do I like Jordan Reed?
Because he's an elite talent, and he's the number one receiver on the team.
And there's another reason, too, I like him.
All right.
If he stays healthy.
Get over the sleep blower.
Who does the quarterback throw to more than anybody?
Well,
especially new quarterbacks.
I was going to say, be specific because wide receivers is the answer to that question. But bad quarterbacks or young quarterbacks, typically tight end is their
Yes.
security blanket.
And Jordan Reed, if he goes back to his old form at all, I'd be getting him at a bargain price here, and he's my second tight end.
All right, after Jordan Reed goes Delaney Walker, Peyton Barber. Oh,
Peyton Barber?
Jeff Barber D finally flew off the board in the 13th round, right where he belongs. Anthony Miller, Chris Thompson, Devin Funchess, Andy Isabella, and now it's I'm up on deck here. Well, I'm not on deck. I'm up.
Your pick.
Yeah, it's my pick. Sorry, I just went all Soroyce on you guys. So I'm looking at the running backs, and they're trash. Like, this is a list of trash running backs. The only one that slightly intrigues me is Duke Johnson if he gets traded, but I'm not going to bank on that. A lot of quote unquote experts suggest that you don't need 2 tight ends, you don't need 2 quarterbacks. I don't agree with that. I think you need a backup for those positions, and I always draft a backup for those positions. So I think that's where I'm going to look. I'm going to take a peek at what we've got at tight end and what we've got at quarterback. I'm interested in Kyle Rudolph. I'm interested in Jimmy Graham. And believe it or not, I'm interested in Trey Burton. But those guys don't jump off the page at me. Even Dallas Goedert interests me a little bit, but they don't really jump off the page. So, with that being said, looking at quarterback, none of those guys really jump off the page at me either. Although Mitch Trubisky was wasn't he the number 1 quarterback for like 5 weeks?
Yeah, he rocked it.
And then, Dak Prescott is there. So those guys are interesting. I was actually trying to see if Kyler Murray was there, but he must have gone already.
He went already.
Which is unfortunate because that's an interesting pick. But I don't really love a lot of those picks.
No love for Dwayne Haskins?
No
Possibly.
love for Dwayne Haskins. So yeah, I think I'm gonna go. Boy, this is a tough one. This is a really tough one. Yeah, Haskins is interesting. I don't love him though. So Trubisky and Prescott probably are the 2 guys. Derek Carr maybe, or we could go Marcus Mariota, so I don't break down and cry like Noah did when he didn't get to draft him.
No!
You remember that?
Oh, I remember.
So what do you think? What's your advice on if you had to flip a coin between Dak and Mitch Trubisky? I think Dak's upside, I don't know, they're both pretty close.
If Dak can play anywhere near the form he did at the end of the season, as opposed to the earlier of the season, I would take Dak.
Yeah.
Dak took charge a couple games, single-handedly put the ball in his hands himself, rushed it in, which shows me that if he's running and he can throw, I mean, you're looking at a decent floor, at least 3 touchdowns a game.
And I think I can get Kyle Rudolph, Jimmy Graham at my next pick.
Right,
yeah.
good.
So I'm going to represent and get Dak Prescott here. Again, like John said, I mean, that offense, I think people are discounting the fact they have a new offensive coordinator. Garrett's not going to be as involved in the offense. They have Amari Cooper. They have Ezekiel Elliott. And what's that?
They also do have one of the best offensive lines, so he has
Great offensive line. Travis Frederick will be back. Randall Cobb's a good player. You know what I mean? Like, you look at guys like Randall Cobb, they're not going to be fantasy relevant, but they're going to help that offense. Michael Gallup, I like him a lot. So Dak has a lot of weapons, and once Amari got there last year, I don't know if you noticed, but Dak turned back into the Dak that got them to the playoffs, and that we really saw a lot of. That he turned into the Dak that thankfully, thank God, sent Tony Romo into retirement. So for that alone, he deserves to be on my team. So I'm going to go ahead and take Dak Prescott here as my backup quarterback. After Dak, Kyle Rudolph. Oh, geez, I jinxed myself. Kyle Rudolph, Chris Herndon, Mitch Trubisky, Noah Fant, Malcolm Brown, Jimmy Graham, C.J. Anderson, and Duke Johnson. That actually makes it easy for me. I like Trey Burton. I don't care what anybody says. I loved Trey Burton going into last year. Didn't work out like I had planned it to.
You don't want to roll the dice on Jason Witten?
Nope. I'm rolling with Trey Burton. I like his upside. He's a good athlete. he is going to play the Travis Kelce role in that offense in terms of being lined up all over the field. And I think another year, another offseason, learning the offense, I think he's going to give him an opportunity to really carve his name into being a weekly starter at the tight end position. I really, truly believe that. I believed it last year, and it didn't work out at all. But we're talking about backup tight end. I got George Kittle. I don't have a lot of worries at tight end. So Trey Burton, I think, is as good a backup as I can get at this point in the draft. It might be a steal in the 14th round, to be honest with you. I don't know what your thoughts on Burton are.
Burton last year showed glimpses that, it's not that he can't do the job. He's a big play guy, too. Yeah, he's fast. He's very fast. He was when we played with Philly, too.
Yeah.
But, until I guess they see more and how they're going to utilize him more, I know the coach has been known for developing tight ends, so it's only a matter of time.
Nagy, yeah.
Yeah, Nagy is good for developing tight ends, and let's be honest, Burton's the number one there, so it's a matter of time before he blows up.
Yeah.
Maybe last year wasn't his year, and it's this year's his year.
And nobody on that team gets hyper-targeted. Like Miller, Cohen, Robinson, none of those guys get hyper-targeted. Mitch Trubisky does spread the ball out, so the opportunities will be there. So I'm happy to have Burton in the 14th round. So after Burton, Fat Rob Kelly, for some reason, Quincy Enunwa, Deebo Samuel, Damian Harris, Sam Bradford, Matt Breida. Your boy, Matt Breida.
He helped me out with injuries. I didn't have a choice.
Yeah, he had plenty of injuries to help you out with.
Too many. I had way too many last year.
Yeah. So now you're on the clock, John.
So, pretty much it's taking gambles here, I guess, or what I feel are some sleeper picks. So, let's see what we got.
There's one guy there, and I don't want you to take him, but I
gotta find him first.
Oh, yeah?
I already know who you're talking about.
Do you?
Starts with an M?
Yeah.
I'll be nice.
You take him if you like him, man.
I was actually eyeballing him.
Yeah, no, he's...
I also gotta, hey, it's a respect thing.
I think he'll be gone by my pick anyway, to be honest with you, dude.
He might. So, rookie-wise, not really looking... There's one sitting up there, but I'm not sold on the quarterback, so I'm going to stay away from
You talking A.J. Brown?
Yep.
Yeah.
Quarterback situation
Great player.
really scares me.
Yeah.
He's fine himself.
Yeah.
Then looking at the rest,
yeah, it's pretty rugged.
So I'll get out of that screen. I'm going to go to the flex, which kind
What about Crowder? What do you think about Crowder this year?
Crowder...
Devontae Parker is another one I'd be curious to see what your thoughts on.
Parker looked really good last year.
Yeah.
Near the end. I guess wait and see, but here I'm going...
He's hard to believe in. I know that.
I don't always go by their rankings.
Traquan Smith is there.
Traquan Smith did good
you liked him last year, yeah. I don't know if he did well, but I know you liked him.
He can stretch. He can run the ball.
You could get Brandon Marshall.
Brandon Marshall still plays. No, I know he still plays.
I don't think he still plays.
I think I'm going to take a chance here, and I am actually going to go. And it's a gamble pick, but before he got hurt last year, he did really well for the Dolphins. And I'm going to take a chance on Albert Wilson at this late.
I like that pick, actually. I think Albert Wilson could lead the team in targets in Miami, and especially if Rosen gets in there. I think Ryan Fitzpatrick's more likely to chuck the ball down the field, which might be more to Kenny Still's advantage, but I don't think he's going to be their quarterback, at least not for the year, for the whole season. I think it's going to be Rosen. They want to see what that guy's got. And I think Albert Wilson is actually really talented. He's a really underrated talent. And I definitely see him, I think, potentially 80 balls. I don't know if it's what you're thinking, but I think he's going to be potentially a PPR monster.
Last year when he ended up doing very, very well. Hey, I still got one more.
Yeah, I know you do.
Yep, I'm trying to just decide here because it's slim pickings near the end here. But I think what I'm going to do...
You got to go MVS, dude.
No, I'm not going to go MVS.
No? Good. Hopefully he falls to me.
I think I'm trying to the rankings can be good and they can also be bad because I rate some people higher in my own mind, but I'm trying to find them.
Yeah.
And I think... if I can find him in here somewhere. I feel like I missed him.
Who are you looking for? Just say who you're looking for.
No, I'm trying to think of the name off the top of my head.
Oh, geez. Here we go, guys, with the names.
Here we go. Names are good.
Ish Smith.
No, not Ish Smith.
Is it a Dalabiacal or whatever the heck that word was you said on the last episode, on Monday's episode?
Actually, you know what? I think I changed my mind.
You're killing us, John. Right now.
I am killing you this
You might have to edit this out.
No.
You have... We're going to put you on the clock, literally.
I think I am going to take a chance here, but he shined last year. So, new team. Hopefully it works out better for him. And I'm going to try Adam Humphries.
Adam Humphries. Humpty Dumphries.
Yep.
All right. Are you sure?
I'm sure.
Are you positive?
Positive.
Because I don't think he's a very good player.
It's a chance.
Well, why'd you take him? Tell us.
Well, last year he was given the chance to start many times. Look at his stats.
By the way, I'm going to cue this up next time you're. Oh, jeez.
You ready to play the Humpty dance?
Hold on, I got a little quote unquote drop here.
No, I took Humphries last year.
We'll go ahead and
This is Jeopardy.
We'll go ahead and play this the next time John makes a pick.
So I took longer than I wanted to. It got near the end of slim pickings, but I think it'll be fun. So
I'm sorry.
Who's on the clock?
I'm such a jerk. Well, it's not you anymore, thankfully.
Okay. So on the clock, I'm like, am I still on the clock? Because I picked.
Oh, there goes Marquez.
Oh.
My boy MVS is gone. That's really unfortunate. I was actually hoping to pick him up with my next pick, but that's how it goes in fantasy football. You don't always get what you want, but sometimes you get what you need. So we'll see if I can get what I need in this next round. Ooh, Kalen Ballage. That's interesting. That's an interesting guy.
This late, yeah.
Yep. One of the things, guys, that I'll look at right now is the handcuff situation. But I don't really have an option there since Gurley's handcuffs are going pretty early these days. So I don't know. Jamal Williams is interesting. That's an interesting guy that, again, I'm at this late in the draft, you're looking for opportunity.
Well, Green Bay's running backs have never stayed healthy.
No, not particularly.
Or if they do, they go down after week 6 or week 5. Ty Montgomery is a perfect example. Rocked it and then ended up getting rocked.
Yeah, and I just, we all know that Devontae Adams is going to get the lion's share of the work there. I'm just going to go ahead and take Devontae Parker. Again, they're talking about how he's looking great in camp and stuff like that, and that's great and all. Trust me, I don't love taking Devontae Parker, but again, opportunity, upside, he's got those things, and honestly, if it doesn't work out for him this year, I will never, ever even consider drafting him ever again. But again, we're talking about the 15th round, guys, so we're going to take what we can get in the 15th round. And
now the 16th, it gets even scarier. Gus Bus.
Yeah, I should probably take a running back here. And I'm going to go with a guy that I think has a chance to be a productive back, but I don't think he has a chance without an injury or a suspension occurring. He's on a team that he could easily slide into that lead role because the lead back on that team gets injured and suspended a lot. I think Raquel Armstead is as good of a handcuff as you can have in the league for 2 reasons. He is actually a pretty talented back. And the other reason is Leonard Fournette opens up that job a lot. He's on break an awful lot. So, again, you're looking for opportunity. And I think with the guys left on the board, Mike Davis, maybe a little bit. Darwin Thompson is interesting in Kansas City, but I'm not really all that in love with taking him here. To be honest with you guys, the guys on the board right now for running back, and that is the position I want to kind of go after just to add some more depth. Mike Davis, Darwin Thompson, Jalen Richard, Alex Collins, Elijah McGuire, Wendell Smallwood, which at one point a guy spent $100 fab on him. 200. But
that was not me.
Another hard pass there. So I'm going to go ahead and take Raquel Armstead and hope. Well, I don't want to hope that Fournette gets hurt. I should never say that, but taking him with the knowledge that Lenny's not always on the field as much as he should be. I don't know if you agree with that pick there, but what are your thoughts on it?
It's not a bad pick. I mean, you're handcuffing one of your players.
Well, he's not my player, but...
Well, you're handcuffing a player. I mean, that potential injury who hasn't seen all 16 games of any season.
Yeah, Fournette's out a lot. It's kind of trade bait, too, for the Fournette owner, you know.
And so, these next picks after he picked Armstead, Tyler Eifert.
Dave, you can write that one on your list.
Is he actually...
Just so you know, Kuchar's got a list going of all of your
That's fine.
faux pas. He's obsessed.
Have you heard anything about him with his foot?
Tyler Eifert?
Eifert.
No, I haven't heard much. I mean,
so I don't even know if the man's playing. ASJ just got AS outed
he
in
just
New
got
England.
86th.
Brandon Marshall still doing it out there. But he might have had 3 catches last year.
These are grabs at big giant straws here.
Senior citizen Jason Witten came
Jason
back.
Witten.
He's
coming out on his
this
rascal.
One, the third to last pick of the draft.
I like this guy
Richard's
a little
not
bit.
bad.
Richard, by the way. Dave, you can add that one to your list as
Keep
well.
Going. Wow, have you ever heard of bullying?
Oh, jeez.
Second to last pick, Mike Davis. And with the last pick, I'm going to take a gamble, and I think he's actually going to do well, and I think he's sitting there. I am going to take, with the last pick of the draft, Matt Lacoste.
Oh, you love that guy. And you did say his name right. I just wanted to be clear on that.
He's a big target for Brady. I don't think they would have got rid of ASJ. I mean, they still have Watson, but he's suspended for the first 4 games. But Lacoste, it sounds like he's going to be the starter. 6'6", 240 pounds almost. Runs a pretty decent 40.
Yeah.
Runs routes pretty good.
I know 2 guys that have excelled at the tight end position playing with Tom Brady. One's potentially the greatest of all time, and the other one is no longer with us. So you know how I feel about that. But again, it's the Mr. Irrelevant pick.
Yeah.
You're looking at opportunity, and he does have opportunity there. So just to recap, you want to recap your team first?
So here's my team. Let me scroll up real quick. So Saquon Barkley with the first pick. Second pick, Devontae Freeman. Third pick, Keenan Allen. Fourth pick, Robert Woods. Fifth pick, Chris Carson. Sixth pick, DJ Moore. Seventh pick, Rashad Penny. Eighth pick, Kirk Cousins. Ninth pick, TJ Hawkinson. 10th pick, Devin Singletary. 11th pick, Paris Campbell. 12th pick, Lamar Jackson. 13th pick, Jordan Reed. 14th pick, Albert Wilson. 15th pick, Adam Humphries. And my last pick was Matt Lacoste.
Matt Lacoste. So how many tight ends you got there? You got 3?
3.
Oh, that's interesting. I've got, just to go over my squad real quick, my running backs are Todd Gurley, James White, Miles Sanders, Latavius Murray, Ronald Jones, and Raekwon Armstead. So a pretty good stable of running backs there. And then I'll go ahead and run through my receivers: Devontae Adams, Cooper Kupp, DK Metcalf, Marquise Hollywood Brown, Josh Gordon, and Devontae Parker. Pretty confident with that. A little bit thin after my top 2, but I think there's a lot of talent and upside there. Tight ends, George Kittle and Trey Burton. And, of course, my quarterbacks are my boy Dak Prescott and Jameis Winston. So not what I would... I'm not really excited at quarterback, but I think the rest of the team's pretty solid. So what we're going to do, guys, is we'll post our squads here from this mock draft on Twitter and Facebook. And you guys can decide who has the better team. I think we both had some interesting strategies here, and hopefully it gives you guys an idea how we draft and maybe helps you along with draft day looming. It's looming, my man. A lot of teams, a lot of leagues rather draft in August. It's coming.
I think depending where you pick makes a difference in your team, too. I'm not high on the first pick. I'm really not. I know some people would love to have first pick, not me.
I think you made out, like, your first 4 rounds were great. I mean, you built a foundation with Barkley and Freeman at running back. you built a really good. I mean, you look at Keenan Allen or Robert Woods. That's a great foundation of guys that are get 15 to 20 points a week. Kind of weighted on the tight end, but I mean, also you got DJ Moore, Chris Carson. You got Rashad Penny, who kind of offsets Chris Carson if he ends up taking over the role. So there is something to be said when you guys are drafting to look at insurance policies. Basically, I think that's how I've won a lot of leagues, is just making sure I have the handcuffs or the next guy up, so to speak. So that's that. I think you had a pretty good strategy there. I went probably a little bit more with high upside guys and maybe home run hitters, but looking at the team, I think it could be pretty powerful and pretty potent.
Yeah, Hawkinson was a huge gamble, and
Hawkinson's a gamble, but you have, and Jordan Reed's a gamble too. So
yeah, and I'm hoping you got to take some shots, and those are my shots. You know, it's a part of the thing. Would I have taken him if I was the first pick? Maybe not, because I don't know what would have been on the board at what time at what pick. So the picks determine. Honestly, that's why we tell you guys mock all day long.
Absolutely. I mean, I'm the type of guy, I'll do 5 a day sometimes. I just, I want to stay fresh, especially in my league of record. I do a lot of mock drafts on that.
I would say he was averaging at least 5 a day when we worked together, and
that's
no joke.
And I have it down to a science. But with that being said, guys, I'll go back to that draft. That was the first draft ever that I got stumped on multiple rounds. So you never know how the chips are going to fall. You can do a lot of mock drafts, and then guys just don't go where you think they're going to go. And
then you see people grab somebody, and it totally
panic
throw
mode.
Off. Yeah. Because you have it.
It puts us into panic mode, yeah.
Your mock draft, you did plan on seeing these picks at the average round, and then, I mean, like we've seen before, people will, I don't want to call it reach, because they're sold on that person like I was on Cousins. They're going to take them higher, and it kind of screws up your picks.
Yeah, and
so
there's always
you gotta have a backup plan in your head.
And there's always those wasteland rounds. I mean, we talked about, it looks like 9, 10 in that area is a tough nut to crack, because there's a lot of players that have question marks or haven't really proven to break out or are too old. And that's why I mentioned Kyler Murray. In some of the mocks I'm doing, he's not even getting drafted.
Yeah.
This one he goes in the 9th round, and I like to see that, because that's reality. If somebody's in love with Kyler Murray, they're going to take him way earlier than his ADP or consensus rank. So
and also, depending who your competition is, some people aren't going to grab these rookies as early as possible unless they know something we don't know.
Right.
So it depends on the league. I mean, I've seen veterans go a lot quicker than some of the rookies.
Yeah.
Unless it's a high upside rookie like Josh Jacobs, he's in a perfect spot to start. Those are the rookies you'll see quicker than anybody. But you're not going to see some of these rookies go as early as they are. I mean, it all depends. It's like DJ said, if they're in love with them, they're going to take them early.
I mean, I think you guys know at this point, I like N'Keal Harry's upside a lot. He went in the 7th. That's a starter. You know what I mean? So then you have to draft really smart after that, because you can't assume that he's going to blow up right away. So it's just interesting to see where some of these guys go. And that's why it's practice, practice. Do as many mocks as you can. We'll do 1 or 2 more before the season starts. And once again, we were hosted by Sleeper on this one. So keep an eye out on Twitter. You'll probably see them retweeting this episode. So anyway, had a little fun here. We had to do some editing. We're not going to lie. This is
a few computer technical difficulties.
Yeah, so glitches, as John would say. We were glitch guys today. Yep. But hope you enjoyed it. Hope you learned a few things, tricks of the trade. And again, it's a bonus episode. We just want to thank you guys for listening and being loyal listeners, and hopefully spreading the word. Please continue to do so at John2977. That's Johnny Boy on Twitter. At Armchair Kingpin. That's me, DJ, on Twitter. We're on Facebook, Apple Podcasts, Spotify, YouTube. Videos coming August 18th. Hope to be on Twitch as well for that. All kinds of cool stuff going on. Email us any questions or anything. armchairfb@gmail.com. I think I got it all.
I get it too.
Pretty good. Okay, so thanks again, guys. And we'll see you next time when we jump into the the big boys, the heavy hitters, the top 24 running backs.
Can't wait. See you guys
All right.
soon.
Take care.
Bye.
Thank you for listening to the Armchair Fantasy Football Podcast. Thanks for supporting the show. Until next time.